will live today, or I can make the time you play. Yeah, you never say you're not the day.
Hello everyone, it's Sakurai Rage here, bringing you a top 20 best epics to play with, or if you're like kind of getting into the game or you already have enough epics in your roster, pretty much like ones you want to play with or focus on. These are going to be top 20. It was hard because we do have a lot of epics in this game, and it was really kind of hard to decide how I'm going to do this. Now, how I have it, it doesn't matter on the ranking, you know, it's just top 20. You can pretty much rearrange it any way you want it. This is just me just going as it is because it's just easier doing top 20. But yeah, speaking of that, so let's just go on with this. Top 20, I'm going to give it to Sarah. Even though Sarah does have low damage, a lot of her moves are not that bad if you play it right. Obviously her fire start spin and her counter move are hard hitters when it's right in the team. And you could pretty much do laser ninja whip from a certain distance if they don't, if they keep rushing at you. Now you kind of do have a lot of strikes, so obviously your weaknesses are going to be people that run double blocks. But with Alyssa, if you could time it right and get them with the fire star combo, you could pretty much do a lot of damage over time. Her counter move is not as bad like it was in the beginning because, yeah, it stops your EP from recharging, but it does stun them. Allows you to kind of retreat for a bit. It's not a bad character with the right double breakers assist, or if you want to go, you could do a lot of damage, but she's just number 20. Number 19, I'm going to have to give it to Kira. Kira still is an underrated epic, but she's kind of easy to use for people who are kind of getting into the game to have Kira. Her strikes are not that bad if they don't block it in time. You can sweep them a lot. She does cancel as well, so you can bait it. And building up 6 stacks, you can do a lot of damage with a breaker. Yeah, her Petrodite could dodge a lot certain moves and give you an insta block on the times. But at the same time, it's situational because sometimes they could time their strikes right on it and stop you from a thing. But she's not really a threat because there's better epics out there. But she's still kind of a character that you could pick up and kind of get the hang of it. But that's number 19. Number 18, I'm going to give it to Heckyl. Heckyl's a very strong hitting character if you could do your stuff right. Downside to this character is the fact that he has no cancels in any of his moves. So a lot of people could just pretty much churl you in and out. Of course, Rewind's a good move if you pair it up with either assist or you know how to time it where you could go to your breaker or find a way to kind of like hit them. But if it does connect all your moves, you're doing a lot of damage to them, and Heckyl is a hard hitting character. It's just a shame he doesn't have no cancels. But that is number 18. Number 17, I'm going to give it to Alyssa because Alyssa got nerfed pretty hard. I wouldn't say hard. They did increase certain costs, but Alyssa's still one of those characters that could chase you down. That breaker chases you down, it chases you. And nah, man, Tiger Trust is a good move. Tiger Claw, it was a 2 cost, they made it to a 3, but she's not a bad character. She is pretty fun to get the hang of, and she is one of the best chase downs when it comes down to it, because that baton has a weird hitbox that hits you, but you can pretty much do a lot of stun damage and stuff. She is still a hard hitting character. It's just most people kind of toss her aside because she got nerfed, so most people kind of just don't want nerfed characters, but she's still a dangerous character. That's number 17. Number 16, I'm just going to give it to Tribble Tommy. He's still one of the best beginner class epics for a lot of players that get into it. Obviously his dangerous combo is always going to be flash kick into feint rush or flash kick into your Saba throw. Always the downside is the flying tiger. But really, he has the best move, which is feint rush. You could just dodge supers, you could dodge moves in time, and just go full ham with it. But your bread and butter is always going to be flash kick. But that is number 16. Now number 15, I'm going to give that to Sentinel Knight. Obviously the nerf kind of put him out of in a way that he's not as much on ladder, but he still is one of those crazy characters that if he connects Sentinel Sword to your energy sword, you could do a lot of damage. Obviously Sentinel Sword is always going to be that best move for him, but honestly Sentinel Knight is one of the most dangerous epics still. If he could get in your face and gets you, he pretty much does a lot of damage. Another epic that's kind of easy to get the hang of, another middle slot character. A lot of these characters either have a lot of good middle slots or a lot of primary slots, but it's another middle slot character. Number 14, I'm gonna give it to Dom. Another hard-hitting character with a middle slot that got nerfed. Obviously, Blade Attack is his best move, followed by Rhino Blade. Most people kind of want to do Super Slash when they come at you, but again, it's a projectile, so they can dodge it. But your Blade Attack's always going to be your bread and butter to pop them up in the air to do your Rhino Fury or Rhino Blade. But Dom is still one of those hard-hitting characters. When even with the nerf, he's still hard-hitting. It's another character that you can kind of get the hang of. That's number 14. Number 13, Tyzonn. Another character. Hold on, let me put it to his regular too. There you go. Another character that got nerfed, but still a very dangerous character because the fact that they didn't nerf Overdrive Kick by speed wise, it's still the most dangerous move he got. A lot of people still have issues with Tyzonn where they could just pretty much get blasted into your drive detector or your armor move that could protect you from strikes. Counter move, they also nerfed that. It used to be a breaker move into your, you kind of get past strikes and counter moves, but they nerfed that as well. But Tyzonn's still a dangerous character that a lot of people still play it with, and it's always going to be annoying with that middle slot. That overdrive kick's always going to be the bread and butter for all his combos. But that's number 13. Number 12, I'm going to give it to Dane. Dane is one of those characters that at first no one really kind of liked playing him. Well, because of, robotic insects is kind of a slow breaker, but over time certain people started playing him and kind of dominate louder or play the waiting game with him because Dane does have robotic instincts that is a slow breaker, so people could just rush it, but then again he has a counter move or they can hit you with an assist that can stun lock you and then you get stunned again. And they did buff his Bouncer Hunter to 4 cost instead of 5 cost, so it makes him even more in your face kind of dangerous character. But there are good players out there who would play Dane very well, and fighting Dane is always going to be situational because you don't know if you're going to throw a strike to hit that breaker and they're going to hit with a counter, or you're going to get smacked with something else. So it's always a do or die when it comes to Dane. It's going to be one of those situations where, a good Dane player could just run circles around you. But that's number 12. Number 11, I'm going to give it to the Toxic Queen herself, Scorpina. Scorpina kind of got nerfed a couple of times already, but she's still one of the most dangerous, epics still, because the fact that her Scorpina Rage could pretty much jump over anything, literally any move, anything. And her Crescent Blade, I think they made it to a cancel where you can't cancel. Before you used to just toss it and cancel it. You could still probably do it, but Scorpina's still one of those crazy epics that people still play with. And she can pretty much jump over a lot of people's moves, especially when you pair up with like Delphine or any strike assist. It can kind of be dangerous there. She's still going to be up there as one of the best ones if you play it right, of course. There's certain people that can play Scorpina like really good. But that's number 11. Number 10, VIPRA. Another character that I feel like is pretty good when it comes to that primary slot. I would say her primary slot is a lot more better than her middle slot, but then again, that middle slot does a lot of damage when it connects. Obviously, her ritual is like a fast strike that could kind of like stun them in a way where they can't time it right, and then you go into your thing. Fire Breath has a weird hitbox that hits you in a certain range, but I think with certain players that have been playing VIPRA, they kind of poke damage and go for the breaker. She does have that issue where if she is in the air and they hit her a bunch of times, she's just flying all over the place. But still, she's a good epic that's going to be kind of still good for a while. Some players play her very well. Number 9, Vesper. Another character that has like a quick strike in her karate for all. Poke damage, allowing you to cancel and to go into your breakers. Her only bounce side is her Chrono X because you can't cancel that move. So they could just block you all the time. But obviously you can also play your distance with her, which is shield strike. You could just toss it from a distance when they're rushing at you. Since it's a breaker, it has better range. But what makes her pretty dangerous as well is her super that it could pretty much go through a lot of characters' moves. So even if they half of their life is there and they damage you enough to get your super, if you have your full 10 stacks, you can pretty much chase them down. They can't escape you, so that super is going to chase you all the way, and you're just going to do all your combos as it goes. Still one of the best ones. She's kind of slightly better than VIPRA, I gotta say. But that's number 9. Number 8, SPD Jack. Another character that has more strikes and breakers, but Jack is one of those fun epics that, like, you could pretty much chase after them. Frontal assault, you could cancel that after I think a couple of shots. You could cancel it, stun them, stun lock them, and you got your red delta strike that could just rush forward at them and stagger them. You got your blast combo that if it connects and hits, then it sends them flying. And you got your triple crowns where I think you can cancel on the second hit or first hit. I'm not sure. I think it's second hit. But Jack is one of those characters that a lot of players have been playing that they could do a lot of damage if they play the cards right. And Jack's a fun character, to be fair. I like Jack when he was on release because he had a weird style that suited a lot of players in a way. They liked it. I like him. He's not up compared to the ones we're going to be announcing, but he's still good. But that's number 8. Number 7, I'm going to give it to the recent epic that came out. That'll be Ethan. Now, Ethan does have low damage, I would say. One of the lowest I've seen for a defender. But what it lacks with damage, he makes up with certain combo kind of ways, if you play cards right. His best thing I was going to say is going to be his Triceratops skin, which you could keep spamming that super a lot of times, and you could take as little damage from players, but if you time it right, you could kind of have invincibility friends to their supers, if you time it right. But he's one of those characters that's very rewarding when you do win with him, because his bread and butter is going to be the frontal horde as like a Superman punch. But not only that, you have a breaker that could toss off line, you have a counter move that could stun them, allowing to do certain moves, but they all connect in a way. Only issue is people will turtle him in a way, but with the right assist or the right move you got, you could beat a lot of players with him. The Triceratops skin is always going to be kind of your saving grace when you need to use it in time to kind of take a couple more damage from players, and then you can just attack after that. But that's number 7. Number 6, Blaze. Blaze is always going to be a dangerous character, and even with the nerf he got, his 5 cost is still going to be the chase down, his bread and butter to kind of do what you got to do, pop him up. But I'm always going to say this about Blaze, and I'm always going to understand this for players. His primary slot is always going to be more dangerous than his middle slot, because Corrupt Strike could take EP away from them. You could pretty much combo them with a Violent Cut. But not only that, you could go into your Necessary Evil, send them flying away, go into your Corrupt Strikes, take some EP from them, or even then, Avatar cards like a Silencer Assist slot. He's still one of the best epics, no matter how nerfed he gets. He's still a threat because he could silence people like to assist spam. He could take EP with their primary. He could stun them, and it has a weird hitbox where it tags you in and it brings you back into him. But Blaze is always going to be one of the strong epics still. No matter how nerfed he is at the moment, he's still a threat. And a lot of players still play Blaze no matter what. But that's number 6. Number 5. There it is. Connor. Connor's always going to be still the best Dino Thunder character ever in the game. One of the best chase downs, Toronto stuff that they nerfed that. He has a Thunder Max that can literally one hit, and if you cancel it, stuns lock him, allowing you to go to your breaker because it can't do anything after that. 2 cost breaker that could kind of chase you, but it's slow. I would say it's slow. And obviously Psycho Spin is a good move in a way if you could combo into your Toronto Staff or your Thunder Max Saber. It's always going to be your downfall is Spin Cyclone, but his best kit's always going to be his Toronto Staff. And honestly, a lot of players play Connor. Some of the best top elite players play Connor still, and they never tossed it aside even with the nerf. They just evolved with it. But Connor's always going to be one of the best Dino Thunder characters in the game. I'm always going to state that. Out of all the Dino characters, Connor's always going to be above them all. And I'm just going to be, that's fair. He's number 5 for a reason. Number 4, Tribble Tommy. Tribble Tommy has one of the best kits I've seen in a while, which is Tribble Speed could just come at you from a certain distance. You have auto combo. If they come at you, you could just blast them and stun them, or just let them finish the combo. You have good poke damage with weird combo. And if they're in the air or on the ground, your Tribble Lightning Sword is pretty good too. Yes, Tribble Lightning Sword could be turtled because it is a slow startup, but if a player could play smart with him and cancel that strike, they could bait out the block and they could just go full ham at them. Tribble Tommy is one of the best release epics that came in around the year, beginning of the year. I would say, yeah, he was at the beginning of the year. And it's still a good epic no matter what. I mean, people that have them, I mean, even Anyway gave people free Tribble Tommy shards. So it kind of, Tribble Tommy is one of those fun characters that you could just easily get the hang of pretty fast. But he is number 4. Number 3, Death Ranger. Another good epic that's very dangerous with that middle slot. But not only that, I love that his primary slot is a breaker that cannot be stopped. They cannot dodge it, it stuns them. The only time they can stop it is if they throw a strike before the zombie can even hit. You have a quick strike that can cancel. You have a full half screen middle slot of his breaker strike and his breaker. This character, and not to mention a super that could pretty much send them up in the air and do a lot of damage. That way they follow up with combos. But Death Ranger is one of those characters that is very good, and he's definitely meta. He's not super broken meta, but he's just meta. He's just very good character that anyone can kind of get the hang of pretty fast. He's a good chase down. He's one of the good chase downs. That's kind of scary. But that is number 3. Number 2, Zordon. Zordon has a scary 5 cost that could chase you down as well. And most people get caught by that so many times. Yes, you could turtle it, but most times you can never really predict it. Double uppercut is more of a way that it hits you and they fly up in the air. Most people could turtle that. He does have a good counter move as well. You just could cancel the second hit, I believe. But it's quick, so you could just go 1-2 and cancel. They waste a strike and you go full ham. And a breaker that fully chases you all the way. But it's one of his downsides, I think, I gotta say. Most people kind of throw the block like me. I always throw my block. I still fall for it thinking it's a strike. But Zordon's very scary character when it comes at it. That 5 cost is always going to be that bread and butter, and you got to be careful with that because if you don't pay attention to it, you're going to get caught by that, and then he sets up all the plays with that. But a character that sets up a lot more plays is that's better than Zordon, Amelia. Yeah, Amelia has one of the best middle slots that, in a way, thank God they kind of patched the one that was issue because Hammer Whack had a lot more range and that they could get you half screen and you're flying all over the place. But her middle slot is definitely her biggest bread and butter. You cannot escape that. If she gets you, you're pretty much dead because not only you're flying in the air, you're building up slightly more EP. She does have a full screen breaker as well as like Devon's that just goes full screen. The counter move I would say would be her weakest move, but it does stun you. But most people don't go full stun, they just poke you once and backdash. But really her middle slot's her best kit. Obviously her super is good as well. But her bread and butter is always going to be Hammer Whack and Cosmic Attack. Because a lot of players could just stun lock you in the middle slot and you're dead. But that is top 20 best epics. There's other ones I could have put. But really it just came down to how I could think of Divatox. Is honorable mention would be Divatox, Passadra. Who else? I could put Zenako, honorable mention, Dragon Shield, Zack, Izzy. But when it comes down to it, it was really tough. Roxy. I just had to put what I figured, what I see more on ladder, and who plays more on ladder. You know, I forgot to put Camdor. But it's fine. I mean, Camdor is still a good epic, but most people could just throw the heck out of Camdor. That's all it is, really. It was tough. Same with Zeo Adam. I could have put him there too, but most people just drop Zeo Adam after the nerf. You don't see any Zeo Adams. You know, it's like Sky. Sky used to be dominant, but then he got nerfed in that. Skull, I thought about Skull really hard, but honestly, what Skull really got is just poke damage. That's really it. Some of these ones I put were a little bit more better. But yeah, that's my top 20. Obviously, it's just how it is. It's not like I'm saying that's better than this. It's just how I feel, how I should have, like, this is just how I feel at the moment. Like, I could rearrange certain characters, but I was really just thinking how to do this. But that's my list, guys. Comment down below, how would you guys make the list, or what would you put instead? It doesn't have to be 12, 20, could have been top 10. But there's a lot of epics we have in this game, like a lot of epics. So it was really hard to decide how to put it. But yeah, guys, that's my list. This is Sakurada Red saying peace.